frequency. Okay, it says that it's like 4 hours, 4 seconds late, delayed. About, just cool. It's cool. Can you hear? Can you see? Am I
Let
here
me see.
yet?
Let me refresh the page.
I thought I'm so stupid. I
Yep, it's working now.
as I haven't had to do that before. Listen, I haven't ever had
Yep,
to do that before. Okay.
wait, I'll wait, wait. I want to see if I can hear myself do it. Check. Oh, I can hear myself. There's a lot of delay though.
There's a what?
There's a lot of delay on my end. That's normal.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll just mute the video from screen. What's up, screen? Oh, we got 3 viewers. That's pretty cool. I'm Nico Music. This is Vanessa Ramos. She's making a banner
It's
for my channel.
Ramos.
Pretty pog.
It's Ramos.
Oh my god, it looks really good.
I've never heard somebody pronounce my name Ramos. I've heard Ramos.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's Ramos.
Oh, Ramos. Sorry.
I've heard Ramos. I've never heard Ramos. That's
Ramos.
I'm gonna add that to the list of ways that my last name has been pronounced wrong. No, it's cool. It's just funny.
Yeah.
I've had people pronounce my first name wrong and spell it wrong too. So, I mean, the only person I've ever had pronounce my name wrong was my Chinese teacher. He used to say Wanisa.
Wanisa?
Yeah. And I'm just like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, me? I drew your ear even though there is no ear. I just drew it for point of reference.
Oh yeah, I don't have ears, by the way.
Just ear machine broke. Wait, I'm streaming. Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay, top chat and live chat are the same so far.
Yeah, everything looks good. I
Okay.
think, I hope things sound good.
Hold on, I need to. Oh, it goes wave. Okay, you don't have the music note next to your name, but you have this the wench.
Yeah, because you made me a moderator.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, oh, you know, at least you don't have the music note, but at least you have the wench.
Good enough for now.
Good enough.
I'm gonna get someday. I'm gonna get a verified pic next to my name.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a really funny story?
Yeah.
About salty ass bitches.
Yeah, let me hear it.
Okay, so when I used to live in Pennsylvania, I moved to Pennsylvania for a little bit because of like a custody thing with my mom and my dad. So I moved to Pennsylvania for a little bit, and I had these friends, right? And they were artists too, and we were really good friends. And it's like I don't know if like the same thing applies for like music world, but it's like when you're that close of a friend group and you guys all like have the same passion for a thing like music, art, whatever. Eventually, your guys' product, huh?
Did you guys like step on each other to like further yourselves, whatever?
I guess, kinda. Like it's more like eventually your products are gonna look similar.
Oh no! Yeah, I know what that's like.
I'm getting there. So then one of these girls had an extreme god complex. Like she thought she was the best one out of all of us, and it was just extreme to the point. At this point, I was very new to. I only started doing art when I was in 7th grade. These girls had been doing art since they were like little.
Mm-hmm.
So they branded me a fake artist.
Oh, so they were elitist. But
yes, they were elitist, and they were also they had been born and raised in that town in Pennsylvania. It's a small ass town. There's like 2,000 people, max.
Is it like a wealthy area too?
No, it's a very poor area.
Oh, okay.
It's a very yeehaw place, you know.
Yeah. I feel that.
And so these girls had been best friends forever. Like, you know, they had known each other since like middle school, right? And then like I came along. We started being friends. I was the new kid in the whole fucking city, right? And
The
I'd come
whole
from
city, damn.
and I had come from New York. And so I would mention things about New York because fuck, I lived there for like
Yeah,
14 years. Of course I'm going to mention my hometown. You know, of course I'm going to say like, "Oh, you know, I'm so sad that we don't have like a Starbucks nearby because you know, in New York, like there was a Starbucks on almost like I was a walk away from Starbucks, and like here I have to drive like an hour to get to a Starbucks."
yeah. The people there are like, what's a Starbucks? Never heard of
No,
that
no, no, they
before.
weren't like that, but they were more like, "Okay, yeah, we get it. You have so much better stuff in New York. Just stop talking about it." And I'm like, "Oh, you know, I just miss New York. Maybe
Yeah,
living here for the. Well,
I
I
guess
thought I
that's
didn't.
like
Yeah,
I visit family in North Dakota, in a little small town called
North Dakota
Dickinson. Funny name.
exists.
Yeah. But like they have nothing there. It's literally just houses and like they have a Walmart and that's where everyone gets their food. Like
Yeah,
you
same
get
over
food at
there.
Walmart.
Same over
And
there.
yeah, it's so crazy because here in the city you there's so much variety. You have so many different stores and like if you want something specific, you have to go to a specific store for it, or you can just shop online.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, so they were elitist to the max. They were like very tightly knit. They were like mean girls in a way, and
Oh yeah.
so we were good friends. I dated one of the girls,
Hmm.
right? And
No homo, no
we
homo.
no, yeah, no homo. And we ended on not great terms. They called me mentally unstable and toxic, which I was mentally unstable at the point, mostly due
Hmm.
to the fact that I was ripped away from my hometown of 14 years
Yeah.
and dropped in Yeehaw Valley.
But did they like spread rumors around the school next?
They did. Um,
Oh yeah, that's uncalled for.
they did. And then also one of them started dropping subtext. I actually have an audio recording that I recorded. I don't even know why 14-year-old me recorded it, but I'm glad I did because I listened to it. I found it
Hmm.
on my computer. Like I was deep diving trying to find like what can I fucking delete off my computer so I can get
To see if
space.
space.
Yeah. And then I found the recording and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I like listened to it and I'm like, holy shit, they were so fucking toxic. And I just
Oh
went along with it.
wait. So did they call you and like just say a bunch of mean shit or something?
Yeah. But so she was like talking shit and she was talking shit and she was saying like, oh, you know, like she was at the time I thought she was talking about somebody else because she hadn't specified anybody. She
Oh,
had just
that's
been
fucked up. She was talking behind your back to you.
she was talking about me to me.
Oh, holy shit, that's like another level.
Yeah. And so and I know that she was talking about me to me because I looked at the date of that audio file and like okay, I'm not super proud of this, but I did manage to get into the the Instagram of the girl I used to date, but it's not my it's not listen, it was too fucking easy. I have a notes app on my computer, you know, like every
Hmm.
MacBook does. And while we were dating, she had put her password to her computer on my notes app, and I never knew.
That's on her then. Like
That's on her.
it's almost like she wanted you to hack it. It's basically like putting $100 bill on a string and just like leaving it and dangling it right in
Yeah,
front of your face and saying, I didn't put this there, and I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna put it there. Not it's just that's just why the fuck would you do that? It's so dumb.
yeah. Anyway, and so there's two sentences on there. One of them I recognized as her password, and then the other one I didn't see it like 3 years ago. I didn't see it until like about a couple months ago. That's when like I actually saw the second part of that notes message, which
Hmm.
turns out to be her current password. So I was actually able to go back in there, and I'm like, wait, stop the fucking cameras. I'm not like hung up on it, but it's more like once you realize like all the shit that you went through was completely uncalled for, you're gonna get mad. You're
Yeah,
gonna get worked up
yeah,
about it.
I get that.
You know? And so I found out that on that like I looked at the date of the audio recording that I have of the girl, calling me a fake and calling me a snake and calling me an art thief. That's That's the point of
Wait,
the
wait,
story.
she called you a fag?
No, she called me an art thief.
Oh, and oh my
I'll
god,
get
that's
to
so
it. I'll
stupid.
get to. I have screenshots on my phone of like the conversation that they had, and also a conversation that I had with somebody that they had sent after me.
Art thievery is the only thing I consider art thievery is when you literally just claim something is yours when you did not contribute to it or create it.
Yeah.
But like what you're doing right now, I mean, is it an original style? I think it is. There's probably a lot of other people that draw very similarly, but like you're drawing it yourself. So no, you're not an art thief. That's they're just using. They're just trying to get at you. That's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I know. And then it was like, and then I was looking at the, like they matched up, like the conversations matched up, and it was she was saying like, "Yo, I'm talking to Anthony right now." Like I used to go by Anthony, and she was like, "Oh, I'm talking to Anthony right now, and I'm talking about him, and I'm telling him about like how much of a snake he is, and he's agreeing with me, and he doesn't know I'm talking about him." And I'm like, "That's fucked up. That's fucked up to another
That is
level, dude."
fucked up.
And it's like,
Yeah, damn.
and it was like fucked up to another level, and I'm like, what kind of sociopathic thinking?
Yeah, that is a sociopathic thing to do because it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just trying to get a reaction on people. It's just trying to fuck with people and get at them. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, and so and then there'd also been an exchange between them where she
Mm-hmm.
had said and like a thing that I found so weird was that there was literally an exchange between them saying like the girl with the gun complex. I won't say her name because I don't want to get
Yeah.
in trouble because I have family that still lives there, so I still have to go there sometimes, which sucks.
Oh yeah. Well,
And so
if she's watching, I'm just gonna say, you're a bitch,
she really
and
is.
a
She really
psychopath.
is. So I'm gonna call her Rachel. That's the girl with the god complex. Her name is
Let's call
Rachel.
it Karen. Let's call it Karen. I think that's better.
Okay. Her name is Karen. And then
Yeah.
the girl that I used to date, let's call her Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Karen was the one with the god complex, and Rachel was the one that I used to date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so they were all artists, and Karen, like, there was a conversation between Karen and Rachel where Karen literally told Rachel, "Hey, Rachel, like, I know you've been stealing my art. I know that you copied my art style, but it's okay with you because you never tried to hide it. You never took it and ran with it like Anthony did." And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? I never did any of that. I never took it and ran with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It's
like
like
thinking, like, why would she say that? And I'm like,
you don't own a style. That's so pretentious. It's like you probably
okay,
got
here's
that
the thing,
yourself.
here's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is why she thought that I was stealing her style, okay? So I used to draw like this. Wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, that was bad. But like the arms used to look like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to draw like my fucking computer's so shaky. And so like then bodies would go like this for me. That's how I used to draw.
There's a bit of delay. I'm just seeing you draw it right there. Oh, so like thick arms and like the hands would be the sort of same shape, same size as the arms.
Well, no, I'm just talking about like the way that the finger goes. Like I'll send you something over Discord like when this is all finished so that you can like see like better. And so I used to draw like that. And she
Hmm.
she accused me of copying her art style cuz she also did hands like that and she also had like this like flowy like lines like thick hips and stuff like that and she would accuse me of stealing her style. And I
Well,
would just
that's rich because
so many people
that
draw like
style
that.
is extremely unoriginal in the first place. I'd
So many
say
people draw like that.
that is one of the most unoriginal styles I've ever seen in my life. That's so fucking funny. Your style now, I think it's really original. I think what you're doing right now. Well, first I'm biased because you're drawing me, of course, but also it just looks
That was
really good.
it's supposed to be
It's
School of
got your
Rock. I almost wrote School of Music. I'm so fucking I'm dumb. Oh my god. Okay.
Did you actually write rock? Wait, it's just loading for me. Oh my god, you wrote music.
Fuck up.
Oh my god, that's funny. I think you should leave it.
I already deleted it.
Oh no, okay.
Anyway, and so like she accused me of doing that, and like at the time, okay, at the time I was with this really, really super sweet girl. Like honestly, one of the best people I've ever dated. And unfortunately, we broke up because of like personal things that were happening with her. And I don't hate her. Like she's one of my favorite exes. She was so sweet. She was so nice. She was so understanding. And I
Give me
had
one
told her
second,
about
just really quick.
this.
I'm sorry.
Hmm?
Just give me 1 sec. My mom's calling me.
It's okay. I think somebody's getting beat up outside of my house. But I'm too fucking scared to look because I live in Brooklyn.
Oh fuck me. Ah, I stepped on a power plug or whatever they're called.
Oh,
Oh, I broke the skin. Holy shit.
okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Is the plug okay?
No, the plug is fucking bent as shit. I don't really care. It's
Oh
like a
no.
for a shitty piano. Oh fuck. I need a tetanus shot now.
Fucking what?
Heartless. Who's heartless?
I hope it's not Rachel or Karen.
Well, I
No,
mean that would explain the name, wouldn't it?
it would. But like I already know what their usernames are on YouTube, so if they pop up, I'll know who they are.
Yeah.
And what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I had this ex who we were dating at the time that all of this was happening, and she had noticed that I was like very distant and I was very like going through something, and she said like, "Oh, what happened?" And I told her like, "Oh, like they're saying all these things. They're like telling me that I'm an art thief, that I'm worthless, that I need to own up to everything, that I need to make a post apologizing for it." And I'm just like, and I'm like just like pouring my heart out to her, and she said, "Dude, that's fucked up." She's like, "Fucking
Like,
drop those friends now." And I took her
yeah.
advice and I dropped them, and then they just kept coming for me, like because I don't want to admit to this because if I admit to it and she sees this, which she's probably not gonna see it, but like if she does see it, she's gonna change her password. But like
Well, I
I
mean, you already said you know her password, so
true, true. And then it's
yeah.
like
And you know what she's gonna do? If you try to change her password, she'll just hack it again.
no, because the thing is that like she made a post about me, putting pictures of my art and her art and Karen's art, and this is Rachel who did this. This is Rachel's account
Yeah.
that I have access to. And so she was putting examples of my art, her art, and Karen's art, and she was like, there's this whole like, like, it's this whole worded essay about it, like calling me out, calling me like an art thief, telling me to apologize, telling people to stop following me, and everything. And then like
Jesus.
you look through the posts, and you know whose art looks more similar to each other's than
Who,
mine
Karen
ever
and Rachel?
did? Fucking Karen and Rachel. Fucking indistinguishable. When I first met them and they let me look through their sketchbooks, they had drawn in each other's sketchbooks and I hadn't noticed. I literally, because they didn't tell me whose sketchbook was whose, and so I thought it was both sketchbooks belonged to the same person
That's rich.
because they looked the same. And then it's like, hold on, you're gonna call me out for art thievery that you claim happened? and not realize that
It's
it's
they had a vendetta against you. I
they
don't
really
know what they
did.
wanted.
They really did. I don't even understand it either because I don't think that they had never really talked about it.
Do you think they were like bent? It must have been some sort of like what was it called where uh, it's like something else is bothering you, but you just take it out on someone else.
Um,
You know what I mean? There's a word for it. You know what I mean, right?
projecting.
Yeah, it sounds like they were projecting like a whole lot.
They really were. And so, yeah, and so they were doing that, right? And it's just so insane because there's also a little exchange between them about like Karen's the one with God complex. Remember that? Where Karen said, "Hold on, I need a second. I need to open the door again." Okay. So there's a little exchange where there's this really popular artist on Instagram called It's Cup Spoodles, and they're really big. Like they're a really big
What are they called
artist.
again?
It's Cup Spoodles,
Huh.
and they're a really big artist, like thousands of followers big. And the thing that had been happening was that Karen had been saying stuff like, I just hope that one day I blow up and get as big as It's Cup Spoodles as Spoodles, whatever the fuck they called her.
Yeah, you need to actually work hard to get that big, though.
And it's like it's so funny to me. You know why it's so funny to me? Because on Instagram, I have 100 more followers than her, which doesn't seem like a lot, but
It is
like
a lot.
it's a decent amount. And it's like even now, I have 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like I'm going to one of the best community art colleges that I can go to in my state.
Yeah, you're
And
cutting out a little bit.
sorry. So yeah, and it's like they had kept saying like, oh, like my main goal is just to like is to just get bigger than like be bigger than. They keep calling me Anthony, and then like it was like just to like get bigger than Anthony, and then like at some point they
Pretty
started
upset
calling
about
me
that.
Vanessa.
It's
Huh?
like it's like you if you want to get big, you need to
Work
have
for it.
like it's important to have a reason to get big. The whole idea. I want to be famous because I just want to be famous. It's like having that reason isn't going to get you anywhere. You have to have motivation to the level that will make you never give up. Like look at Kurt Cobain. I mean, he's sort of a different example, but the reason he got big isn't because his music was excellent and it was sort of different from everybody else at the time. It's because any time he got a chance to play live, he would do it. Like he would play for
Yeah.
hours each day, nonstop. He would grind every day. And in the art industry, the music industry, in all those industries, it's it's always there's always like a level of luck and just like being in the right place at the right time and knowing the right people. But in order to get to know people and you know get your name out there and your art and your music, you have to actually work hard and you have to promote your music. For musicians, it's easier because we just have to play everywhere. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of convincing to convince people to let us play at places when they've never heard us before and they don't know if our music is good or not.
Yeah.
And
It's the
for
same thing
artists
with
like
artists.
you,
It's the same thing with
yeah,
artists. Like sometimes like I used to work at a daycare center and I had originally applied to be an art teacher at that daycare center, like an apprentice art
mm-hmm.
teacher. And yeah, and they had taken me on as just a regular teacher and they said, I want you know. I want you know, okay? And so they had taken me on as a regular
There we go.
teacher. And they had taken me on as a regular teacher, and it's like because they were like, oh, like we don't really know, like like what you're capable of, like like we don't know if you're good or anything, so like we'll give you
Mhm.
like the job, and then you can just
hi,
show
Bruce.
us, and then you can just like show us as you go, like give us your ideas for what you want the kids to do and such.
Mhm.
Give us ideas for like what you want the kids to do and such, like like show us a test run so that we know if you're worth it.
Yeah, it's the same thing for like the stereotype. I started off as like a janitor, and then I worked.
You okay?
Jesus. Oh, what's up, bro? Oh, fuck me, what happened? It's like you start off as a janitor at like a big company, and then you work your way up to a CEO just by working hard and like getting promotions and stuff like that. Like of course, you can't become a CEO just from being a janitor, but it's sort of the same idea. It's like, especially in the art industry, it's just you can't ever stop working.
Yeah.
Because at its core, we are entertainers, and there's so much entertainment thanks to the internet and thanks to making it easy to self promote that people have very short attention spans. So you have to give people a reason to want to listen to you, to want to view your art. Maybe have a shtick or a style or something relatable. I'm not saying you should just like. I'm against don't just write shitty pop songs to make money and make it big. But
Yeah.
if you're like me personally, I write really complicated sort of progressive metal, and I have to tone it down because it's not enjoyable for
Yeah.
people. And it's like it's maintaining a level of like I love what I do, but I also need to make it so other people will love it too. Because at my core, what I want to do, I would if I had the choice to perform on stage other people's music and in front of millions of people every day, rather than make my own music and not be able to perform, I would choose to perform because that's what I love doing. I think I love the energy, I love the adrenaline, but I also want to perform my own music. But it's like you have to make sacrifices in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like currently, I have a portfolio of works that I've done, and one of my like something that I really like to flex a lot is the fact that when I started out with my school's theater company, I wasn't really known as, well, I mean, I had already like been known as like, oh, like the chick that does art, like she doodles a lot, she draws stuff a lot, like she's an AP art, like like she's cool, whatever. And I had to beg the director, I had to beg,
Oh my
sorry,
god.
I had to beg the creative director, I had to beg the choreographer, I had to beg like all four teachers that were in charge, and I had to beg the AP of the program, the assistant principal, and I had to beg them like, hey, there's this really big mural that shows up at the end. Do you guys know what we're doing with that? ¿Puedes cerrar la puerta, por favor?
Yeah, it's I mean,
No, wait.
it,
Wait.
some people.
No, and
Yeah.
I had to beg them, and I had asked the AP first because he was really chill and I knew him already, and I had to beg him like, oh, like like in this, like we were doing In the Heights, and at the end of In the Heights, there's a huge mural that comes down, and it's made by a graffiti artist, and so it's a mural dedicated to somebody in the show who dies, and I begged them like I didn't beg them at first. I just like asked tentatively, like dipping my toes in the water, saying like, "Hey, do you guys know what we're doing for this?" And they were like, "Oh, why is the ensemble kid talking to us?" And they were like, "Oh, we're probably just gonna buy it offline." And I'm like, "Hey, I can save you a lot of money. Like like
and it's
let me
also
do
like
it." And I was like, "Let me do it."
exactly. Like me, I'm right now. I'm advertising my YouTube channel everywhere. Like
Yeah.
I'm that person that asks everyone on Discord. I'm sorry if you see this and you get annoyed by me adding you whenever I upload a video. But the reason I do it is because I am so passionate about what I do, and I want people that I want to make it big in the music industry.
Oh, can you see the thing? Like, can you tell me what you think about it real quick? Does this look okay?
It looks fucking great. I love it. I love how I love it so much.
Okay. Question. So I want to make you black and white, and then have the music notes that are coming out, have there be like, how do I say it? Like splashes of color.
That's a good idea. That'll be such a really good. That sounds like a really good contrast.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Glad you like that.
Hmm.
No, yeah, but
Yeah.
like, it's not annoying that you're like promoting yourself on everything. Because honestly, the thing is like, okay, so back to the story about the mural. The thing is that I didn't. I knew what I wanted to do ever since the moment that they said that the musical was going to be in the Heights. I auditioned to be in it just so that I could eventually worm my way into um, Captain of Set, and I did manage to get into Captain of Set. And they like the teachers that I had asked about it, they didn't know that I was an artist. They just said kind of like, yeah, you know, whatever, like do whatever you're gonna do. And it wasn't until about 2 months before the show opened that they were like, hey, what are you doing? And then
Mm.
I showed them my sketches because nobody had ever asked me for my sketches. They just said like, yeah, like we'll tell you when we get on it. We'll tell you when we get the materials and stuff. Like whatever, like kind of blowing me off. And they're like, hey, like what do you want to do? And I showed them the sketches, and they loved it. They were like blown away. They were like, oh, we didn't really know that you were that serious about it. This looks amazing. I
It's
actually
the
have.
same for me. Whenever I tell people, I at my old school, I told everyone that I was a musician and that I played shows, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's it's like a little kid saying I play music, that sort of thing. It's cute or whatever," and they don't really take me seriously until I'm like, "Hey, search up a video of me performing," and they're like, "Holy shit, you're actually." I'm not trying to like brag or anything. I think what I do, I think I'm very good at what I do. I think I'm a better performer than I am a singer.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to figure out a way of trying to convert that into YouTube content because right now all my videos don't show my face because I don't really have a good camera and because I don't really in these photos these were taken by professionals and it's far away so you can't see the
Yeah.
imperfections of my face and stuff like that. But it's also like I'm not the best actor and stuff like that. Holy shit, you just DM me this picture and that looks amazing.
Thanks. And it's even more impressive in real life. No, I'm not trying to brag. It's
No. I think it's important to have confidence in your work, but also be humble about it. Like say like I'm trying to figure out how to make good music. Your
yeah.
disc is almost full. Oh, it's not good.
It's a lot more impressive in real life, that mural, because it's 8 feet by 8 feet. I actually have a
Holy
picture.
shit.
I have a picture of my 6 foot tall director standing next to it, and it's
That's that's impressive to me because for me when I draw like really big things, it's hard for me to
yeah.
like
It
keep it simple. Like
yeah,
it
because
looks like it's really small.
no, it's not. It's huge. It's like the best thing I've ever done. I've used it. I've By including that picture in my portfolio, I've been able to get so many acceptances into colleges that it's not funny at this point.
That's awesome. Could I link the picture in the stream?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
And then and it's like such like it just makes me so happy. And the thing that I love the most about that picture is that when that picture comes down, there's a whole scene for it coming down, and there's a whole motif. Like there's like a bell, like
Oh, that's awesome.
there's like
It's the same.
fairy tinkles.
It's the
It's
same with me. It's like I think I sound way better live than I do
yeah,
through a recording.
yeah,
And it, up until recently, where I finally got a microphone specifically for recording in a studio, I before that, whenever I heard myself in video, I hated it because I sound so much different than I do in my head. But now I can sound the way I want to, and it's so nice. It's difficult to. It's basically like learning how to
yeah.
walk.
And you
Trying
have
to.
like a great voice. You have an amazing voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the only song I have is me doing Thunder Road, and I made my vocals too quiet by accident.
Yeah,
I yeah. I've been thinking about deleting it and re-uploading it, which I might do, but it just takes a while to process it and download it.
yeah. No, but yeah, like and it's so funny to me because like back to those girls who said that I would never do well in life, and it's like now I'm just like looking and I'm like, fuck you guys.
that's what, whenever people give me shit for that, whenever I've told people in the past that like I'm gonna make it big in the music industry some one day, and you're gonna see me on like you're gonna see me on a billboard. They're like,
Yeah,
you're full of
manifest
shit.
that
It's
shit.
like you're never gonna do
Manifest
it.
that
And I'm like,
shit,
and I
bro.
use that as motivation to be like, fuck you guys. I'm going to do it just to prove you wrong.
Yeah. You know, as long as you keep saying it, as long as you keep believing it, you're gonna manifest it.
Yeah,
People
I used
always
to
get
say
so confused.
I'm trying to get in the habit of saying I'm going to make it instead of I want to, because it's important to have a lot of
Yeah,
confidence, especially if you want to make it to the level that I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to make it.
yeah.
I probably sound super pretentious right now.
No, no, not at all. Not at all, honestly. Having that confidence is just, that's what you need.
hmm
That's, yeah, that's what needs to be there. And it's
By the
like,
way,
hmm?
oh yeah, let you talk.
No, 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 no. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say to any viewers who watch this currently, or just watching this as a video, the image in the top left corner is me. That's from Summerfest. Oh, why are you hiding it?
No, I hit it so that I could make the sketch better. I forget that
Oh
there's a
yeah,
delay. I forget that there's a
yeah, yeah.
delay.
But that was from I think 2016 Summerfest in West Seattle with School of Rock. That was a really fun show. I think I yeah, it's sort of my greatest accomplishment as of uh, June 13th, 2020. Hopefully, I'll get some better than that, because they actually put my name in the West Seattle blog, which was really cool. They spelled it wrong, of
Wow.
course, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool to see that, because it's sort of like a reward for working really hard. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was super cool.
hmm No, but yeah. So yeah. So before like, so if I had just like kept, if I hadn't cut those girls off, if I hadn't realized that, like, hey, this is bringing me down. This isn't helpful for me. I probably wouldn't have like gotten as far as I have.
hmm
So like, I have to give credit to those girls for being assholes in a way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it on stream, the details, but I used to be in a group of people, with a group of people that I don't talk to anymore, basically. And I mean, I enjoyed the friendship while it lasted. They were really fun people, but I don't think it was. I think it was a kind of toxic relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're
But
not gonna uplift you,
you,
they
yeah, for me, it's like I try not to dwell on my past. I try to be thankful for the good times and
yeah,
use the bad times as um, sort of experience to
to
push
grow.
me forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is those people, I I don't hold anything against them. It's a very different story than you. I still like them. It's like they have very different beliefs than me, but they're still people, and I think there's a lot of good in them.
Sorry, I
So
had to
yeah,
burp. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So, cheers.
yeah. Yes, yeah.
uh, yeah. So, I'm really thankful, and like, now that I graduated, and like, I got, I'm still upset that like COVID shut everything down
Yeah.
I, because me and another friend, we were like another like really good artist at my school. We were supposed to get Metropolitan Awards, and so basically what
Mhm.
that is that they choose high schoolers from all over the city to get prestigious awards from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is a huge museum here in New York.
Yeah,
And
I've heard about it.
yeah, and we have um from what I understood, I might not have heard this right because the teacher told me this in like a really really fast way because she was like late for something. From what I understood, we get to have a whole ceremony there. They give us medals, they give us like recognitions, and we get to have our art there for, I don't remember if it was 2 weeks or 2 months, but it was something like that. We get to have our art on display. And
Mhm.
I'm really upset that COVID shut everything down and that I wasn't even able to like apply for that because everything just got shut down.
Yeah, COVID. Well, for me, it's like I've always been a very shut in person. Like I sort of I isolate myself too much, and the whole COVID thing made me realize that I have friends in real life that I don't spend enough time with, and
Yeah.
I really need to get outside more often and just be more grateful for the things that I do have.
Yeah.
Because before this, I really took it for granted, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But it does suck, especially for the people that have lost their jobs and
Mhm.
aren't getting the compensation that they deserve. And some people are even starving, which blows my mind that people are starving in America in the first place. But when they shouldn't be, when
Yeah.
they had
One
jobs.
thing I like
And
about New York is that since this whole thing has happened, they have been giving out free meals at schools, at hospitals, and all those
that's
places.
awesome.
Hot
Yeah,
meals, cold meals,
in Washington State, they
Yeah.
have it so you can't evict people from houses right now until this whole
Yeah.
thing blows over.
Yeah.
So, which is because landowners would be evicting people if that wasn't the case because they just care about money.
Yeah.
Which
Me and
which
my
I'm really
family, we
glad they did
actually
that.
didn't know that until our landlord had contacted us and told us that um, like why did you pay rent for this month? Like, like asking us like, hey, you guys were the only because it's like in this whole like apartment building with like 75 other tenants, like
Hmm.
it's like we have an apartment and like also my aunt lives here in a different apartment, so it's like we have two apartments of the same family, and it's so funny. And they're like, oh hey, you guys were the only two people to actually pay rent this month. Everybody else just gave in the government card. Like, why didn't you get that in? And the simple answer was just we didn't know.
Oh, that's so bullshit. Well, they probably do that on purpose because they don't want to lose money.
No, 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 no. Like literally every single tenant, except for us with the two
Oh,
apartments,
how did you guys not know then?
we didn't know. Like nobody had told us. Like we didn't know.
That's
Like the
funny.
landlord had literally said like, "Hey, you paid rent this month. Why?"
Yeah. Well, that's actually pretty cool that the landlord did that because they could have just like not said anything
Yeah.
and yeah, just gotten money from you guys,
I
which
mean,
would have been fucked
no. I
up.
mean,
But
like
like,
he still took the money. Like we didn't take the money back. He offered
yeah,
it. He offered it, but like we're like, you already have the money, just take it.
yeah,
Because we weren't really struggling financially at that point yet. Later on we were because two of my family members and also myself, we actually got COVID.
yeah. My mother got COVID as well.
Yeah.
She
Like I'm
had to
fully
go to the
recovered now.
hospital for
Like
it.
thank fucking God that nobody was like seriously hurt.
Yeah, yeah. My mom was really close to, uh, you know, she said there was a chance where I could have not made it, which is fucking scary.
Yeah, my one of my family members, like, cause it was like I don't want to say them because I don't know if like they're comfortable with me saying that they got COVID, because so one of the family members that had also gotten COVID, she literally had told us that if we hadn't take, because the only reason why we found out that we got COVID and we got treated for it was because I was so insistent, because I'm such a fucking pussy, that I was like, this shit fucking hurts. I want to go to the doctor. I can't
Yeah,
fucking breathe.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean that it's also like if you go to the doctor, there's going to be a shit ton of sick people there, and if you have COVID, your immune system's already compromised.
Yeah.
So in a way,
No, we
going to
went
the
to
doctor is a risk.
a private doctor because the two
Oh,
family members, they don't have health insurance. So this was like a doctor who didn't care if you didn't have health insurance. She'll treat you. She'll give you, like, she knew what she was
that's pretty
doing.
cool.
And so we had gone there, and it wasn't until like way later that one of the family members who had also gotten sick, she had told us that, if I hadn't, like, if we hadn't been so insistent about going to the doctor, that she was seriously planning on like just jumping from the window, that she couldn't take it anymore.
Holy shit.
And so like this whole thing is just like fucking with people, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's affecting. Like it's a very real thing. It really pisses me off when I see people going out to the beach and not social distancing and
Yeah.
not taking it seriously.
You know what I hate? The conspiracy theorists. I fucking hate those people.
I think it's really funny, the whole 5G tower thing. Like, 5G towers is, like,
No,
causing...
here's the thing. Even though the two family members got it, one of the family members still believes that it's fucking true.
The 5G tower thing?
Yes.
Mm.
And she's like, oh, we only got it, you know, because, like, your phone has a 5G thing. And I'm like, my phone isn't even connected to that thing.
It's like, do these people know what 5G is? It's literally just...
And I like literally I told them like, hey, like, you know, people said the same thing when 4G came out. You know,
it's literally just sound waves. Like, that's all it is.
Like, every single time something new comes out, like, everybody says shit like that.
Yeah, like that's so funny.
Oh my god, remember when the fucking what was it? There's always like some sort of fucking conspiracy theory, and it's just like insane.
How dangerous is 5G? Some 5G conspiracy theorists contended that the new network generates radio frequency radiation that can cause DNA damage and lead to cancer.
Wait, hold on. I gotta call something. Hold on. I'm calling bullshit. Fucking bullshit.
Wait, so 4G is just... It's just so the G stands for generation. It's just the 4th generation of cellular network technology.
It's like...
So 5G is the 5th generation, but... So it's,
and I'm
it's
like, people said the same thing about, like, phones when they came out. Like, people said, like, iPhones cause, like, cancer or something.
Or, like, microwaves. It's like you'll get microwave radiation or something like that.
Well, like, okay, like, microwaves is, like... Okay, microwaves is a different story, because I actually did, like, a science experiment on this. Like, microwaves, like, the actual, like, radiation waves that are in there, they can change your DNA. But you would have to, like... You would have to, like, be able to physically... Yeah, but you would have to you have to be able to physically put your whole self into the microwave and stay there and, like, get cooked for, like, a minute for it to do anything to you. Like, you'd have to be in the microwave.
And the whole thing is, like, your food doesn't get radiation poisoning from being put in the microwave. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's like a banana is more radioactive than food that comes out of a microwave because it has potassium in it.
You gave him a $6 tip? $6? $6? Oh my god.
So 5G, the difference between 5G and 4G is 5G just lets you connect to the internet and, like, other machines, objects, and devices, so, like, smart devices. 1G delivered analog voice in 1980s, so I guess that was, like, just phone calls. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
2G introduced digital voice, which,
Do you remember when people had, like, conspiracy theories about fucking, what was it? Like, solar power? They were saying, like, oh, we're gonna take all the energy from the sun. You know, we're gonna get skin cancer.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think Trump said something about that. 3G,
oh my god, when Trump said to just inject yourself with disinfectant.
Yeah. 4G is basically just, like, the basic internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 5G is...
the internet, but on steroids.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is high speed.
It's just faster. It's just new. It's just newer. That's it.
And it actually saves more money than 4G. Whereas 5G being used. Yeah, this is a good website. It's on Quora. I think this is Quora. Is it? What is it? Website am I on? I don't know what I'm on. I
always use Quora, and I probably shouldn't. But it's just...
Yeah.
It's like Reddit, but with...
Yeah, Quora answers are really funny.
They're sometimes, like, extremely funny.
Yeah, there's some incredible funny people on there.
I can't make this sketch look good because of the shakiness.
I think it looks really good. I think I'm
gonna leave it as that, and then just, like, fix it up when my computer isn't so shaky from my OBS.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, do you want to plug something before I end? I mean, we can still keep... we can still keep talking. Like, I'm just gonna end the live stream.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good time because I actually do want to work on some music stuff right now.
Yeah.
But Nico Music, youtube.com/Nico Music. Just you could put my YouTube channel in the description possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you search up my YouTube channel name, it doesn't come up because it's only got like 20 something subscribers. So subscribe, like all my videos, and share them. And like, give me suggestions on what you want me to do. I'll do anything within reason. That's about it.
Except
And also,
CP.
subscribe to Vanessa Ramos. Uh, she makes
It's not.
fantastic
It's not
art videos.
Ramos.
I know, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. Fantastic art videos, and share her profile or her YouTube channel as well.
And I'm doing commissions right now, like for my subscribers. Actually, like I'm actually doing commissions right now, within reason. I might link my Instagram post talking about it.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Sure.
check it out.
Check that out too. Yeah.
Okay.